Hi, my fellow YouTubians. In the background there in the distance is the Arch in St. Louis, Missouri, where I have spent this weekend participating in the filming of the last few shots in my friends Matt and Cole's and their film The Love Stalker, which is a dark comedy which will be finished probably late this year, if not early next year. Shooting is mostly done on the movie. But I wanted to come down for a little bit, and I got to participate in a few quick inserts and pickups, as they call them, to help fill in time. And right now I'm just sort of wandering around the downtown area before I get back on the train on my way back to Chicago, so I thought I'd show you a little bit of this. And of course, I wanted to talk a little bit about The Social Network, which is the most current film by Mr. Fincher, unless you count The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, which he is shooting right now, or will be in just a little while. The Social Network is, of course, about Mark Zuckerberg and some of the people involved in the creation of Facebook, which is a website you may have heard of. This is a website that has earned Zuckerberg billions of dollars. And the movie depicts the legal battles that he has with some of the people who claim that he owes them for their participation in the creation of the website. In particular, the Winklevoss twins, who were also students at Harvard, Tyler and Cameron, who claim to have come up with the idea in the first place for a social networking site specifically for Harvard students, and Eduardo Saverin, who was Zuckerberg's friend, who put up the cash to get the site running in the first place. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was the fact that this is, of course, based on real people and real events. How much of it, though, is authentic is not really a concern of mine at this point. I could look up the transcripts from the legal proceedings and see how much of the dialogue was taken verbatim and how much was rewritten to make it more stylish or whatever. But I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to talk about the movie itself. And in terms of just the movie, if there is a villain in this story, it is most certainly Mark Zuckerberg. He is not an anti-hero or sympathetic really in any way, as far as I can tell. He is, definitely a jerk who screwed over a few people by taking their ideas and their help and then, leaving them in the dust. He basically, the movie depicts him talking with the Winklevoss twins about creating the Harvard social site and then stringing them along with a series of emails telling him that he was too busy to work on it right at this moment and that he would soon in the future, while he was preparing his own version of the site. And if he had told them that he didn't want to do it in the first place, then they would have gotten a different programmer. He purposely left them in the dust so that his site could get up and running first. So in that sense, he's at fault. That was not a clean transaction, and he was very underhanded in doing so. And also the legal maneuverings he executed in order to make sure that his partner at the beginning had his stock ownership reduced once the site became successful it's not really clear to me, but it must have certainly taken Mr. Saverin by surprise. And he has since managed to get his name reinstated to the company masthead and was compensated probably extremely well. I don't know, $600 million, something like that, $500 million, I'm not really sure, but it was probably quite a lot. If Zuckerberg in fact settled, which he did. Yeah, but we're just focused on the movie here, and they don't go into all the specifics of that. But yeah, as far as the movie goes, all the actors are very, very well chosen. I think everybody has their moments where they really own it. Eisenberg, he's terrific as Zuckerberg. He's very sort of abrasive and prickly, and he's great at that character. Timberlake, of course, plays Sean Parker. He's very smooth, very charismatic and likable. He's the perfect guy to tempt people with a rotten apple. So he's really good. That scene with him meeting them in the sushi restaurant is really terrific. And then there's the twins, right? The twins are played by one person. Artie Hammer, I think his name is, and he's great. He's really good. I'm a big fan of movies in which they have one actor or actors playing two different parts, back in the late 80s, they developed a system called the Vista Glide, which is a motion control camera that they brought onto set. And the motion control options could let them execute a particular camera move down to the millimeter as many times as they liked. So an actor could play one part in the scene and walk through and do stuff, and then he could change clothes and occupy the other character in the scene, and the camera move would be exactly the same, so that those two moving images could be merged into the exact same shot. I was very excited by this. Dead Ringers, Big Business, Back to the Future 2, these are all movies that came out around then that used this process. So yeah, it was exciting to see that happen again, and the results are flawless. It's a really, really well executed technique. Even the guy who plays the Winklevoss's lawyer, he's good too. I'm not such a big fan of Andrew Garfield in this movie, but I think that's mostly because the character himself is kind of a wet blanket. He isn't, you know, the kind of guy to have any of those big, you know, strident monologues the way the other guys do. He has a little sort of blow up, but he's not as cool as the other characters, so it's not really the actor's fault. Now, obviously, the screenplay is very witty, and the dialogue's all very fast-paced, and that's down to Sorkin and Fincher, of course. Fincher really kind of reigns in his style, I think, on this movie. He doesn't do a lot of flashy camera moves. There's a few really cool moments that I like. I noticed that a couple of his signature shots are a shot that focuses on the back of a character's head. This happens early in the movie where a girl is playing strip poker at a party, and after she pulls her blouse off, she kind of self-consciously touches her hair. And that's very similar to shots in movies like, well, Seven in particular, but I'm sure there's a few others that don't spring to mind, but they sort of, you know, focus kind of on the back of a person's head as they're doing something. And also the shot where he has a character in the background out of focus, and then they walk close to camera, they are suddenly in focus. The focus point remains fixed. And this was particularly clever in this movie. I've seen him do it in a couple of movies, like Zodiac, for example, and possibly Benjamin Button, I don't remember exactly, or maybe Panic Room. In this movie, there's a girl who's about to get in the shower. She walks into the foreground with a towel wrapped around her, so she's in focus. And then when she walks back into the background to get in the shower, she drops the towel, but you can't see her clearly because the focus point doesn't change. Very, very clever way to keep that PG-13 rating. So good on him for that. Yeah, not a flashy movie, but very, very well edited. All the shots are really good looking. I especially like the shot that goes through the nightclub. It's this big sweeping move for the nightclub. That's a good one. All in all, though, I think Fincher's contributions here are specifically in regards to selecting the actors, which he was great at. Always good actors in his movies, and also the editing, the pace of the film, which really is strong. It's a fast-paced movie. It really moves, and it's a long, complicated story with lots of stuff happening in it. So that's kudos to him for that. I'm not sure where this ranks on my general list of Fincher movies. I've only seen it 1.5 times now, so I'm going to see it one more time before I sort of figure out exactly where it would go if I rank them. But it's one that I like quite a bit, and I sort of have to readjust my perception of him with every movie that he makes, because I now have to be prepared for the fact that he's not going to be making dark thrillers every single time out of the gate. And this is, of course, not one of the dark thrillers, but it's still very, very good. And I'm, you know, pleased that he's doing so well with it, that it's gotten so many critical raves, and that it's doing well monetarily. I don't know whether or not it's going to be whether or not be my pick for Best Picture of the year. Probably not. I kind of like Inception and Toy Story 3 more, but it's still very good, and so I recommend it. If you would please go to vrosebhappy's channel. Her link is below in the description to check out her video of it. And the last film in our Fincher series is, of course, Fight Club, so we hope you'll click on us when that comes up. Thanks very much. Take it easy.